Very good morning, dear guys. Welcome to the class. Today we are going to deal with Where the Mind is Without Fear. Where the Mind is Without Fear, the poem has been written by Rabindranath Tagore. Okay, and in our previous video lecture, we have seen first 5 lines. Okay, we have seen the meanings of first 5 lines. Okay, and today we are going to deal with the remaining lines. Look at there what is given there. Okay, so there we have seen where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. We have done up to here. Okay, in our last video lecture. Today let's see what is there in the next. Where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. Okay, so look at there what is said here. So look at there what is said. Where the clear stream of reason, look at there, clear stream of reason means here the poet Rabindranath Tagore talks about two things here in this line. In the 6th line, the poet Rabindranath Tagore talks about two things. The first one is reasoning ability, reasoning attitude, that means scientific attitude we can say. Okay, scientific attitude. Yes, or that means what you can say, the reasoning ability. Yes, the reasoning ability or attitude. So here in this line he talks about scientific attitude and reasoning ability. Besides he talks about the old traditional customs. Okay, customs or rituals which are harmful. Okay, so look at there how he talks about these two things, scientific attitude or reasoning ability. Besides he talks about old traditional customs or rituals which are harmful. How he talks about this? Yes, so look at there guys, he said where the clear stream of reason, that means here this one, clear stream of reason. Here he made a comparison between the stream and reason, the reasoning ability or the scientific attitude, and then said dreary desert sand of dead habit means this old traditional customs or rituals which are harmful. Okay, so here this old traditional harmful, okay, as we know that there are many more old traditions, yes, which are now going on, but I would like to say many are harmful. yes, उनमें से कुछ तुम देखोगे या फिर बहुत कुछ देखोगे जो harmful है आज की डेट में. Yes, and that's why here the Rabindranath Tagore talks about these two things, and let's see what he says here. Look at there he says where the clear stream of reason, that means the scientific attitude or reasoning ability should not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. Dreary means bhayanak, frightening. Desert sand, as we know that if we talk about the nature, yes, nature or the point of view means अगर nature के point of view से अगर देखा जाए तो we know better that sometimes what happens in the deserts you will find कि एक बड़ी river भी उस रेती के मरुस्थल में, मतलब रेतियों में मरुस्थल में लुप्त हो जाती है. यस, और देखो रिवर जिसमें पानी होता है हम उसे जीवन कहते हैं, और उस लाइफ को एक तरह से लाइफ को क्या कर देती है, वो डेजर्ट गायब कर देती है. सो ये नेचर का वीव है, ओके, एक नेचर के जो ऑब्जेक्ट्स है उन्होंने यहाँ लिए है टू क्लियर इट, ओके. सो हियर ही सेज दिस रीजनिंग एबिलिटी और साइंटिफिक एटीट्यूड शुड नॉट लॉस्ट into such old traditional customs or rituals which are harmful. Yes, means here he talks about the reasoning ability and says that reasoning ability or scientific attitude is very necessary to move on, to get progress. Yes, to fight against the suppression, oppression. And that's why here he says, hey Bhagwan, means there he praise the God to create such a place or make such a country where the reasoning ability of his people or the scientific attitude of his people should not lost its way, or this ability should not lost, yes, or should not disappear due to this old traditional customs or rituals which are harmful, these harmful traditional rituals or customs. So there he says that this would not be what can I say, dominant. So there he says or he asks for the place where the reasoning ability or the scientific attitude of his people should not lost due to the old traditions or old traditional or the harmful cultures or harmful customs or rituals. So that is what here he talks about. Yes, so here we can say that in the line number 6 he talks about scientific attitude which is very necessary, the reasoning ability of his people, and besides he talks about the old traditions, okay, old customs and rituals which are harmful. Yes, and there he says or he prays the God, he asks the God that the reasoning ability of his people should not lost into such rituals, such customs, such traditions which are harmful for humanity, harmful for everyone. Yes, understood. Okay, now we will see the next one line, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action. So look at in line number 7 what he says, where the mind is led forward by thee, okay, thee, it is actually old English word, okay, old English word, thee, and thee means you, okay, thee means you, and here this word is referred to God, and that's why the first letter of this is capital. Okay, why? Because it is referred to God. So here he says, where the mind is led forward by you into ever widening thought and action. So look at there, here the poet Rabindranath Tagore talks about, or here he requests the God to be the leader of his countrymen. Okay, here he asks the God to be the leader of his countrymen, to be the leader of his countrymen. Why? Because he knew that, yes, means he knows that, the poet very well knows that if the God becomes leader, everything would be fine, everything would be good for people, and that's why here he says, he requests the God to lead his people. Lead his means here look at the mind. Where the mind means actually every person of his country, every person of his country should be led by you, that means you must be the leader, of his countrymen. Yes, you must be the leader of his countrymen and lead them where अब उनको लीड करके कहाँ लेके जाना है into ever widening thought and action. Into ever widening thought and action means into the place where everyone would have broad outlook. That means here he is talking about some conservative people. यस कुछ व्यक्ति होते हैं जिनकी विचार संकुचित होती है, तो ऐसे संकुचित विचार वालों के पास नहीं लीड करना है, तो कहाँ लेके जाना है? वेयर एवरीवन वुड हैव ब्रॉड माइंड, ब्रॉड आउटलुक एंड ब्रॉड एक्शंस. वेयर एवरीवन वुड बिलीव इन ब्रॉड आउटलुक, जिनका जो सोच है, दृष्टि है, वो कैसी हो? ब्रॉड हो, परिपक्व हो और विस्तारवादी, जो बोलते हैं ना जनरस, उदारवादी वाली जो जिनकी सोच हो, ऐसे जगह मेरे लोगों को क्या करो? लीड करो. Yes, so this is what here Rabindranath Tagore asked the God to lead his people to the place where everyone would have broad mind, where everyone would have broad outlook, yes, and broader attitude besides actions. Got it? So this way here in this line, the poet Rabindranath Tagore asked the God to be the leader of his countrymen. Yes, and ask him, request him to lead his people forward, to the place where there is, or where there everyone has broad outlook and believe in actions. Okay, so this is what here in this line the poet Rabindranath Tagore talks about. Okay, now let's see what is there in the last one line. What is there? Into that haven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. Into that haven of freedom, my father, let my country awake. So here in the last line, Rabindranath Tagore addresses the God as his father. Okay, here he addresses, the poet addresses the God as his father. Yes, as his father, and says, and ask, we can say, and ask the God to awaken his people into the haven of freedom. Look at there, the phrase is there, haven of freedom. Okay, haven of freedom means the place where everyone would have the total freedom of good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Yes, besides respecting the freedom of others. दूसरे लोगों के फ्रीडम को रिस्पेक्ट करते हुए इस प्रकार की भी जिनको फ्रीडम हो, ऐसा प्लेस, दैट मीन्स haven of freedom. So here in the last line, the poet Rabindranath Tagore asked the God to awaken his people to the place where there is total freedom of good thoughts, good words and good deeds. good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. Good thoughts, good deeds, and good words. Okay, so here this way the poet asked the God, addressing him his father, he asked the God to awaken his people to the place where there is total freedom of good thoughts, good words, and good actions. Got it? So this is what the poem is. And as I told you, this is not a poem but a prayer. Got it? So this is way. In all lines of the poem, you will find that the poet Rabindranath Tagore praised the God for the well-being of his people, for the betterment of his people, for the well-being of his people. Yes, for the bright future of his people. And that's why the poem is well acclaimed all over the world. Yes, and he was revered, we can say he was revered, okay, or he was revered with Nobel Prize. Yes, in 1913. So I hope you got the meaning of this poem very well. Now we will see the poetic devices that are used in the poem. Okay, poetic devices that are used in the poem. Okay, so now first of all you must understand the rhyme scheme. As we know that in appreciation 5 points are there. Okay, in appreciation 5 points are there. So look at there, what are the 5 points? Appreciation. Okay, in appreciation of the poem, you have to write down, or you have to think about the 5 points. The first one is name of the poem. Okay, name of the poem. Second one is name of the poet. Then third one it is the central idea. Okay, central idea of the poem. Then the fourth one is rhyme scheme. And then the fifth one is figures of speech. Okay, so these are the 5 points. That are considered in writing appreciation. And look at there is carries half mark. This is again half mark. Name of the poem half mark. Name of the poet half mark. Then central idea 2 marks. Okay, central idea 2 marks. Rhyme scheme 1 mark. Okay, and figure of speech 1 mark. So overall 5 marks are there on appreciation. 5 marks. Okay, so now let's see the name of the poet. We know better. Name of the poem also it is already we know already. Okay, then central idea we have already seen in the beginning of the first one video lecture. Yes, now we will see the remaining 2 points. Yes, remaining 2 points. Rhyme scheme of the poem and the figures of speech used in the poem. Okay, so let's see. First of all, let's see the rhyme scheme. Okay, rhyme scheme. So dear, first of all you must understand what is rhyme scheme. So dear, I would like to tell you that this poem has no rhyme scheme. No rhyme scheme. Okay, in the poem. Besides, there is no metrical pattern. Okay, there is no metrical pattern. Yes, metrical pattern. There is no metrical pattern means if you find that in the poem there is no metrical pattern, there is no rhyme scheme. So that means the poem is written in free verse. The poem is written in free verse. Okay, the poem is written in free verse. So the point rhyme scheme, there you have to mention that the poem is written in free verse. The poem is written in free verse. Okay, this thing you have to write down there. Yes, got it? So simply you must write down there, the poem is written in free verse. No rhyme scheme, no metrical pattern is followed throughout the poem. Yes, no metrical pattern or no rhyme scheme followed throughout the poem. So this is what you have to write down, the poem is written in free verse. Okay, now the next is figures of speech. Okay, so what are the figures of speech that are used in the poem? Okay, what are the figures of speech that are used in the poem? So what are these figures of speech? Okay, and as we have seen already, many figures of speech: alliteration, personification, simile, metaphor, onomatopoeia, many more figures of speech are there. Okay, so among them few are here in this poem. Okay, so simply you can write down many figures of speech. Many figures of speech are used in the poem. For example, alliteration, anaphora, personification, yes, and then metaphor, synecdoche, etc. Okay, these are the figures of speech which are used here in this poem. Okay, and there while writing this point, there you have to explain any one figure of speech, any one. Okay, so let's see, do write this and then we will see the any one figure of speech, okay, that is prominently used in this poem. So let's see. We will explain alliteration. Okay, so there is alliteration in the line where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. Okay, so look at there, do write this line there and then explain how there is alliteration. Okay, and as we know very well that alliteration means when there is the repetition of initial sound of a word. Okay, look at there, what am I saying you here? Alliteration means the figure of speech where there is a repetition of an initial sound, that means beginning sound of a word into two or more words in the line. That is called alliteration. So look at there in this line, where without ver sound, head, her, held, her, high, her and her and her. these two initials, beginning. Okay, ये देखो where जो शब्द है उसका beginning sound व, without का beginning sound व, head का beginning sound ह, head का beginning sound ह, high का beginning sound ह. So when you find such repetition of initial sound of a word, that is called alliteration. So this way you have to explain, and at last write down there is repetition, there is repetition of initial sound. Actually sounds, okay, there are repetitions of initial sounds. What are these? V and H. So this way you can write the explanation of this point figures of speech. So this is way you have to write down an appreciation of any poem, considering these 5 points: name of the poem, name of the poet, central idea of the poem, and rhyme scheme, and at last figures of speech. So this way I would like to tell you that the poem is done, the poem is completed. In our next video lecture we will see our another one poem. Okay, so dear guys, keep watching the videos and enjoy the classes. Bye bye, see you soon.